Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Francis Adate, coming to you live from the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. We'll take a look at the headlines. Supreme Court upholds plant in River State. Plus, EU Chief van der Leyen and Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky host new. For joining us. So first report this afternoon is that the Supreme Court has set aside the appeal by Adeboyega Oyetola challenging the election of Senator Demola Adeleke as Osun State Governor. The court, in its judgment read by Justice Imani, to adduce enough evidence to prove his allegation of overvoting in the July 16, 2022 governorship poll. And while the Presidential Election Petition Court has adjourned to Thursday, May 11, 2023, the continuation of the pre-hearing of the petition by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar against the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All-Independent National Electoral Commission. Listed as first to third respondents in the petition are the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and the APC, respectively. According to reports during today's proceedings, counsel for the petitioners, Chris Original proceeding. He noted that the application was a motion of priority which requires immediate attention given the national importance of the issue at hand. Turban in Rivers State. Reports say the project is a subsidiary of the Transcorp Group located in Oyibo on the outskirts of Port Harcourt in the state. Osibanja, who arrived at the venue in a chopper, said that in 2020 electricity subsidies reached 584 billion naira, but the service-based tariffs have led to a doubling of collection in the Nigerian electricity supply industry from 40 billion naira in 2020. In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari has announced the appointment of the Director, Humanitarian Affairs Department of the Governing Board. The President, in a later address to the Senate, President Ahmed Lawan asked the Senate to confirm the appointment of the 12 nominees as members of the Governing Board of the NEDC. The nominees include Bashar Bali, Chairman, North-Executive Director, Administration and Finance, Northeast Bauchi; Ismaila Mashak, Executive Director, Operations, Northeast Adamawa, amongst others. Away from that, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has said it would partner with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to assist Nigerian women in Iraq. A spokesperson for NAPTIP, Zach Dauda, disclosed this to newsmen. Meanwhile, the Director General of NAPTIP, Fatima Waziri Aziz, had earlier disclosed that the agency was investigating several rogue labor recruiters who had been reported to be big players in the massive exploited in diverse ways on a daily basis and now are requesting assistance to return home. Recall that NAPTIP had on Wednesday last week raised alarm over the plight of Nigerian young women working as domestic workers in Iraq. Standards of international laws and statutes. The approval followed two memoranda presented to the Council by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, who noted that the labour laws of the country as presently being operated are obsolete laws. Briefing Newsman ILO had pointed out that Nigeria needed to bring its laws to be concurrent with the international labour standards and conventions and principles at work. He said having resolved the grey areas in the proposed amendments, the final product was approved by the Council and would now be transmitted through the Ministry of Justice. We move to the red chambers now, where the Senate Insurance Corporation, NDIC, representing Southwest. Also confirmed by the red chamber and nominees for appointment as members of NDIC board. They include Professor Osita Obu to represent Southeast, Umar Gambo Jabrim to represent North Central, Muhammad Atahiru to represent Northeast, Yasmin Zabat Amin Dalhatu to represent Northwest, and Simon Oge to represent Southport by the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions. Meanwhile, the report was presented by the chairman of the committee, Senator Uba Sani, APC, Kaduna Central. This is disclosed in a statement signed by the clerk of the House, Yahaya Danzaria, shared on the official Twitter handle of the House. Reports say the reason for the postponement is to allow members of the House to participate in the ongoing induction program of the 10th National Assembly. 2014 projects under the Universal Service Provision Fund, USPF, including an e-library project that was carried out to the tune of over 2 billion naira. The House frowned at the request by the Commission for 700 billion naira to ensure that 27 million Nigerians who do not currently have access to telecommunications before the House Ad Hoc Committee investigating the failure and inability of the Commission to promote widespread availability of mobile telecommunication network service throughout Nigeria, as well as accruals and utilization of funds in the USFP. The committee, chaired by Bamidele Salam, requested that the NCC should provide the sacrifice and specific addresses and project description and specifications for each of the contracts that were awarded and listed in the 91-page document it submitted. We move to education, where the National Examination Interfederal Government Academy, Suleja, from Saturday, May 13th to Saturday, June 10th, 2023. A statement by NECO said the examination was rescheduled to enable more candidates to register for the examination, following a request by some stakeholders for an extension of the registration period. NECO enjoined all candidates will continue till the new date of the examination. And back here, the #1 citizen of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Dame Emmanuel, has commissioned an ultra-modern Asan Ibibio complex. Inaugurating the project, the governor thanked the people for the support throughout his tenure in government.
Dame Emmanuel has inaugurated an ultra-modern Asan Ibibio complex for use by the Ibibio people as their ancestral home. Inaugurating the Asan Ibibio located at Ikoto Creek Corner in Uyo local government area, Governor Dame Emmanuel called for maintenance of the complex, which he hoped will serve as a rallying point for all Akwa Ibom people, irrespective of their ethnic backgrounds.
The ruling party, the elders of Ibibio Nation, the elders of Akwa Ibom State, the leaders of Akwa Ibom State, the stakeholders worldwide, we commissioned Asan Ibibio complex today for the use and for the economic value it stands for of the entire state. The economic value of such infrastructure like this, in the name of God the Father and of the Son. Asan Ibibio, even coming from this complex, will stand the test of time with the quality of maintenance. But today, to fulfill that words of Jesus Christ in Matthew 8:20, Ibibio Nation, a commission today, the Asan Ibibio. All of us put together have what we call Akwa Ibom State today. So when we are talking about Ibibio, it's a symbol of unity, and think Ibibio is just that cluster.
Earlier in his address, Doku Ibom Ibibio and chairman of Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers Council, Ntenyin Solomon Ituk, had commended Governor Emmanuel for the honor done to the traditional institution and prayed God to bless and honor Governor Emmanuel.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Emmanuel, and we do that, but we never say, but no free video. I work again in Kerry one day. I haven't come make them more than a magistrate here, you get them. Anna, I did your upper body a carambe. I get it, I will for us a day. I could come from. I forgot. Now, make a fresh video. I'm in both for on them. I put on a proof of them. I put on a Paris Amen.
Also speaking, the State Commissioner for Works and Fire Service, Professor Noibanga, gave an overview of the project and commended Governor Emmanuel for seeing to the realization of the project.
Your Excellency, this edifice of Ibibio land in Asani Ibibio is the largest auditorium anywhere in Akwa Ibom State. It has a capacity of 2,500 seated with 3 galleries inside. This edifice has 7 offices: the Institution's office, Secretary office, and a special conference room. This edifice is such that anybody we can take care of the population, because we have 25 toilets, 14 on the ground floor and 11 upstairs. Your Excellency, you are a man of your promise. You are a man that thinks about your people. I want to thank you for your 100 years minimum in terms of everything.
The ceremony, which attracted different Ibibio social cultural groups and other ethnic groups, with a ride away of different traditional.
In a different development, the Nigerian Union of Journalists and UJ, Akwa Ibom State Council, officially celebrated the World Press Freedom Day, where renewed emphasis were placed on the importance of press freedom and the invaluable role of the media in actualizing a cardinal fundamental human right of all in any democracy. Speaking at the event held at the NUJ Press Center, Information Drive for Yo, Akwa Ibom State, the State Commissioner for Information, Inia Memebong, stressed that in issues of press freedom, all strata.
Is also conscious of the fact that the social status today should not limit the social status of his own children tomorrow. That these pressures, though internal, will also become the chains that he has voluntarily submitted himself to. And therefore, while it is sweet and fine to place blame on government, governance, and the rest, the question is that the role of individual responsibility cannot be underestimated. And therefore, if our education is honest, we can eat food. Despite the chains in our hands, we can clap in church. Despite the chains in our hands, we can follow the people who even put the chains in our hands. The question is, what is our attitude when the chain is coming?
It's only going to further and deepen our commitment to enhancing a free press, and also ensuring that government also remains more committed, more focused on the need of freedom of press. And so what we have done today is to sit down as an institution with all stakeholders towards ensuring that the Nigerian press is free, towards ensuring a healthy democracy can be emphasized and implemented at the same time.
Meanwhile, the chairman and UJ Akwa Ibom State Council, Amos Etook, in an interview expressed hope that the celebration will drive home the significance of press freedom, suspend a sentence and a $300,000 fine to a leading opposition politician, Usman Sanko, as he intends to run in next year's presidential elections. Reports say that the country's tourism minister received a 2-month suspended sentence in March, but the prosecution called for a heavier sentence following an appeal. Which is sweeping through the country. According to reports, increased cases of people being bedridden for days and losing their voices with intense cough, flu and fever, and placed on oxygen machines. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Communicable Diseases, Prevention and Control, Dr. Patrick Tusime, said there is no indication of increased cases of COVID-19 in Uganda and the outbreak is a normal flu. On a foreign scene, EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has also Russian aggression, noting that there is need for faster deliveries of ammunition from the EU to Ukraine. Meanwhile, EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said Ukraine is fighting for the peace and unity of Europe. She discusses sanctions against Russia, saying Europe is doing everything in its power to erode Putin's war machine and his revenues. A holiday that celebrates their fathers and grandfathers. Putin, in his speech to mark the day, said civilization is again at a decisive turning point, noting that real war has been unleashed against the country, but Russia is defending its sovereignty and will protect the inhabitants of the Donbass and the country well stronger than love for the motherland. Still to come in the news. Atletico boss Simeon says a cement worth more than £100 million. To stay with us. Many thanks for joining us, and now to the rest of the news stories. On our business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has said it will sanction banks assisting the operations of unlicensed foreign firms. It stated these in its guidelines for the regulation of representative offices of foreign banks in Nigeria, signed by the Director, Financial Policy and Regulation Department, Muhammad Musa. According to the guidelines, representatives' offices of foreign banks served an important purpose of showcasing the brand and services of its parent company. CBN said it could also stimulate foreign direct investment to host country. Refiners and Distributors Association has said that to displace charcoal with clean cooking gas, also known as liquefied petroleum gas, would cost Nigeria and other countries in Africa about $7.5 billion for downstream infrastructure and stoves. It also stated that the continent remained the lowest in per capita consumption despite its huge abundant usage on the continent. Executive Secretary Ada Anibo Graga, who disclosed this during an LPG virtual workshop by the group, stated that while sub-Saharan Africa had 14.4% of the world's population, it had less than 1% of global LPG consumption. He, however, noted that LPG consumption in Africa had more than doubled since 2010, the consumer, adding that LPG was the fastest growing petroleum product in sub-Saharan Africa. We move to health, where doctors at the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology Teaching Hospital, Ogbomoso, Oyo State, have begun an industrial action of the poor candidate Dr. Ayobami Alabi and Secretary Dr. Taiwo Alatishe in a statement. They stated that the decision was based on a Congress resolution arrived at the expiration of an ultimatum earlier issued. The chapter declared that it had critically observed the situation in the hospital and there was no definite issue to safeguard the hospital from total collapse and to reposition it for better training, research, and services for which it was established. It declared as unacceptable the continued non-payment of salaries of its members recently employed. It also decried the delay and difficulty in payment of 2016 to 2017 salary arrears by the management. It added that some of other issues in contention were the shortage of manpower and house officers. Still in health, a new United States study has found that people exposed to even moderate levels of aircraft noise were less likely to receive the minimum recommended amount of sleep each night. The researchers from the Boston University School of Public Health said sleeping less than 7 hours each night predisposes an individual to the risks of depression and non-communicable diseases such as cancer and diabetes. Published in the Journal of Environmental Health, respectively, the study discovered that people who were exposed to the researchers, many people are not aware of the health risks of aircraft noise. In sports, Scotland head coach Gregor Townsend has signed a contract extension until April 2026. Townsend, aged 50, has been in charge since 2017, and his previous deal was due to expire after in the world's ranking. Still in sports, Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone believes Napoli forward Victor Osimhen is worth more than £100 million. Osimhen has established himself as one of the best marksmen in the world following his stellar 3 years. According to reports, the Nigerian international is the leading scorer in the Italian top flight this season with 23 goals from 28 outings. Meanwhile, Osimhen has attracted the interest of some European heavyweights despite claims by Napoli president Aurelio. In our entertainment news, Nigerian superstar Asake has been named the best African artist at the 2023 Vodafone Ghana Music Awards held in Accra. Asake made the title after beating a strong lineup of Nigerian artists including Burna Boy, Kiss Daniel, and Ayra Starr, as well as newcomers The Therapist and Cameroonian-American singer Libianca. Meanwhile, Nigerian hitmaker Mayokun also won the award for Best Collaboration for his part in Commodore's Sugarcane remix and hip-hop style. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Francis Edit. Many thanks for being there and do enjoy the rest of your day.